Hi, friends. We're so glad you're here. The Big Ideas podcast exists to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs. Join us for unscripted conversations while you're at home with your kids or even just driving them around to activities. We hope these short but powerful messages will give you inspiration and encouragement for your next big ideas. Welcome, friends, to episode 18 of season 1, which we've decided is going to be the finale of season 1. More to come in season 2. That is already kind of underway. But this episode is officially a celebration episode. I've got Owen and Dylan with me here. Of course, I'm Ashlee with the Big Ideas podcast. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We've got some really fun things to talk about. Some really fun ideas and shout outs to just help make this finale of season 1 episode just a true celebration. We have definitely learned that we don't have to wait for the really big moments in life to wait to celebrate. And this podcast has been just a great excuse to see where we've started, see how far we've come. And 18 episodes in, we are just so pumped for what y'all have told us you've gotten out of this show and all the big ideas we have to still come. And so, I have to ask y'all, what can you celebrate today? What can y'all celebrate along the way? Don't wait for those, 100 episodes or just those huge, monumental milestones before you realize, hey, I can slow down. I can celebrate, we have definitely learned, myself for sure. I know I can get stuck a lot of times thinking, well, that's so great. I hit that goal, but there's so much more to still do. There's no time to slow down. There's no time to celebrate. There's no time to just kind of enjoy the accomplishment feelings. It's more just keep on going, keep the hustle going. Don't slow down. You'll lose your momentum, just not true thoughts. And so I'm excited for this excuse, like I said, to celebrate. So Owen, why don't you tell everybody, what are we doing? It's not huge. What are we doing today to celebrate our 18th episode and the finale of season 1?
We are eating sandwiches, drinking cream soda, and eating crumble cookies, which is really good.
Yeah. So nothing overboard. We are heading to the lake in a little while too. But
that's going to be so fun.
That's going to be really fun too. But that was kind of already on the calendar. So yeah, we went and got a special trip to Crumble Cookies, got our favorite cookies, got our favorite Dr. Brown's cream soda, black cherry sodas. If you guys know what I'm talking about, it's the best. And yeah, just took some time out to just celebrate and think of all the things that we've learned and what we're looking forward to still come. So before we get into that though, we cannot go very far without talking about all the families that joined us for season 1 on our episodes and helped bring so much value to all of y'all listening. Do you guys want to shout out to everybody, and then I will add on to it too?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, the Hathaways, for being on the show. Thank you for the Flukes.
And the McDaniels. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kicked off our interview series. Blake McDaniel and her kids, Hayden and Bailey. And you said Hathaways, but we actually had 2 Hathaway families. So we had Mary Clarice and her son, John Parker Hathaway on. And we also had Christina Hathaway on with her daughters, Blakely and Reagan. And then we also had the Stoney family on, Celeste and Ray Stoney with their 4 kiddos. And we had Anita Favors from the Jars of Clay Children's Outreach in Atlanta on. And you mentioned the Flukes, of course. Eileen Fluke with her daughters, Brooklyn and Selah. Just brought so much value, so much good insight to just the entrepreneurial journey and using our gifts and our talents. If you have not listened to those episodes, I highly recommend going back and listening to those with your kids. They will be inspired. You'll probably very much be inspired. They are doing so many great things. And then Dill, why don't you tell all of our listeners what you appreciate with all of them and how much they mean to us.
Thank you so much to everybody that's listening to this right now. We wanted to thank you for just listening to us in general, because the show without any viewers wouldn't be any fun.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for sharing it, telling others about it. Y'all are awesome. And this, like I said, this show wouldn't be a show without listeners. So we appreciate y'all. All right, boys, let's final wrap up. This is going to be a short and sweet episode, but we've talked a little bit about what we've learned. We've learned a whole lot in launching and hosting a podcast. We've posted an episode every single week. Some of those weeks came easier than others, but we were learning the art of discipline, the art of scheduling, prioritizing. Like I said, some weeks were a lot smoother than others, but we were determined to always post an episode every week. And so we learned a lot. We learned a lot in that process. And so, Owen, why don't you go first? We narrowed it down to like one thing we're going to share with y'all. So, Owen, what's the one thing you wanted to share that you learned from doing this podcast?
Well, the one thing I learned is how to make podcasts and how much time it could take to make them, like all the programs, all the bells and whistles that we have to use in order to make these podcasts. Like right now we have mic set up. I learned how to do that. Right now I have like some recording softwares and like some equalization, like all that stuff. And that's how I make my podcast, and that's the number one thing I learned.
Yeah. And I would also say you probably learned that just because the episode is 15 minutes long doesn't mean that it takes 15 minutes to make, right? I mean, I think, what would you say, what's the average time it takes us by the time you're done editing? We add the intro, the outro, all the editing and just all the extra stuff that you've got to get in place. I mean, it's several hours, right? What would you say?
It could take like a lot of time. You know, like some of your interview ones, they're like 30 minutes long. We have to go through them like a lot. Yeah. And it could be pretty challenging sometimes.
Yeah. Hey friend, I wanted to take a quick pause to ask if you've taken the quiz yet to find out what type of dreamer are you. It's super important to discover what's working for you, but also some things that may be keeping you from really pursuing your greatest purpose. It takes just 2 minutes to find out if you're the skimboarder, the sunbather, the sandcastle builder, or the surfer babe. So jump over to dreamerquiz.com and be sure to share your results and tag me in it. Now back to the show. I wish I could have some sort of way to show you guys the art of Owen's editing, because it's incredible to watch. He makes everything just sound so seamless, and y'all are the beneficiaries of that. But yeah, it's probably 2 to 3 hours goes into every single episode, even though it's maybe only a 15 or 20 minute actual show. Yeah, that was definitely a big one to learn. What about you, Del? What did you learn from doing this podcast?
I learned that I'm able to trust my own voice. Because when we first started the show, of course, I had a little bit of stage fright. But now I feel a lot better about myself. It gets a lot more fun, I guess, is what you could say.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely more confident behind the mic now. I love that. And I know you guys can only hear us. You can't see him, but he is quite the character behind the camera. At some point, we need to just flip a camera on so you guys can see what's happening behind the scenes. But all right. Well, what I would say that I learned the most is that there's always more people watching you or maybe listening to you than you realize, right? Of course, I've got my own kids watching and learning, like front row seat, like I've talked about, but I can't tell you how many times I've had y'all reach out to me over these last 18 episodes and like message me what you and your kids are getting out of the show and how much it means to you to like be watching us. And it just makes my heart so proud. And it's just a reminder, to all of us that when we do things with excellence, when we do things out of obedience, when we do things using our gifts and our resources to serve others, that there's just more people that are counting on us than we realize. And I hope that encourages everybody listening that to just keep moving forward, keep taking those steps, because whether they're your own kids or they're other people watching you, it is making a difference. It is making an impact. And that was definitely my number one takeaway, but I could probably list a bunch of them, but I'm going to keep it to that for this episode. So season 2 is coming. We have tons of what I'm calling binge-worthy episodes coming. We have a whole lineup already planned. It's going to be just Owen, Dylan, and I recording these. At least that's how we're planning it right now. And they are all episodes to help prep you and your family, your kids, for Kids Business Day, and whether or not you're participating in that or not, because I know a lot of y'all listening are not in our local area. It's literally going to be how to get your business done. And like I said, just tons of mindset, but very like practical tips too on how to make it happen. And so we're super pumped about season 2 that's coming. The plan is to roll it out after the 4th of July, after America's birthday. And we're just super, super pumped. So this is the finale for season 1, but trust me, there's so much more coming. Owen and Dylan, what would you want to say for your final wrap up? Make sure everybody is tuning into season 2.
The next season is going to be so much fun. It's kind of sad that season 1's ending. Now we're moving on to season 2. But I think season 2 will just be as great as season 1.
Yeah.
I really hope you all enjoy it. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. What do you think, Del? Should everybody keep plugging along and following along and making sure they got their subscriptions and shares and everything going for season 2? Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Also, I hope everybody enjoys their 4th of July.
Yes.
By the way.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, this is Ashlee wrapping up season 1. We are going to go cheers our Dr. Brown soda and eat our chocolate chip cookies. We'll be thinking of all of y'all, and we can't wait to see you soon. Thank you so much. Thanks again for listening, friend. We would love to hear what is really speaking to you in today's episode. It means so much to us, and we would love for you to take a screenshot of you listening to our podcast, share it on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely tag me in it so I can reshare it. Our kids especially really love hearing what you're getting out of our show, so it really means the world. Thanks again for joining us.